It's What's the Crack? With Anton and his mum who shaves his bum, Sherrie Ann.
Welcome back to What's the Crack, the podcast that brings you banter and bonding. I'm Anton.
And I'm Anton's mum, who shaves his bum.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. All these years later, she still does. I am very excited about today's guest. He is a singer and songwriter. He needs no introduction. Wes Nelson.
Hello.
How are you, bro?
I'm excited for this. You know, I've just said your mum's famous, mate. Like I've seen when you was in the villa, I was tuning into the lives. I seen it all. Yeah.
And you never told me, Wes.
Oh, listen. I just wanted to be an observer. I was just there. I don't want to get involved in it.
Do you know what was nice when Wes came into the villa? He brought me a present first and foremost. He brought me a little napkin.
I did. That didn't make the cut.
I know, because you were promoting your single. I tried my best.
I know, yeah.
I tried my best.
When you said it, I was like, yeah, that's never making the cut. That's never making the cut.
I probably made it too obvious. Sorry, I apologise. But he brought me a napkin that said Abracadabra.
I washed it and I pressed it and I put it away.
I know, I forgot to bring it today, actually.
I put it in your wee memory box, son.
Yeah, so obviously coming back into the villa, Wes, was absolutely amazing to see you. But one thing I've got to say is what I really respect about you. Love Island's a massive show.
Huge.
And I feel like not many people get away from the stigma of Love Island. And I feel you've done that.
I mean, it's an ongoing process, isn't it? But I feel like the public perception of me is more so with music now.
Yeah.
But it was nothing to ever be ashamed. Like, I had the time of my life on Love Island. Like, I was 19 when I got asked, like 20 by the time I think I'd gone on. And I just had the best time. I think I went on it with no expectations, no sort of idea basically what I was getting into. Had the best time. Come out, didn't enjoy the influencer lifestyle for me. Like, I'm terrible at Instagram, I'm terrible at socials, so that was just never going to work for me. So then I took a step back, music, and I think the public opinions changed because I wasn't screaming it from the rooftops like, oh, I'm an artist now, or I'm this now, I'm that now, because then it just doesn't seem genuine. I just wanted to put music out, which is what I love doing. If the public sees me as an islander, they see me as an islander. If they see me as an artist, they see me as an artist. But either way, hopefully you're listening to my music. I don't mind.
We all go through different ages and stages, and we don't know who we are and what we want to do. And Anton went through a stage there really badly, you know.
It's the PAs, bro. the PAs.
Oh, mate.
How many did you do?
200 odd, I think.
Oh, well, I done like 86 or something in 90 days. In 90 days. And I know that I went on that PA tour as one person and came out a completely different person.
So that was actually it was great, but in hindsight, I think it was actually a real dark place because I hated getting my drink spilled on me. I didn't know, like, all that attention. I felt like it was imposter syndrome. I said this to Scott Thomas not long ago. It felt like I had imposter syndrome because, like, I'm going to these places, people are queuing up to see me. Why?
Yes, that's what I said to you.
So it's like, listen, I get it. I had a good time on telly, cracked some jokes, this, that, and the other, but it's not that crazy.
What I always say is, I think, like, we sat in a beanbag for 9 weeks. Yeah. What did we do special? Like, that's what I thought was felt.
I ended up just drinking way too much.
Exactly the same.
Way, like, every night. And I'd take my mates and this, that, and the other. And don't get me wrong, we had a good time. But then I look in hindsight, I'm like, never drank that much before, really. Yep. Don't really drink that much since. Yep. The only reason I would have been doing it is to cope, but at the time I wouldn't have. It would have just been a mask. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It was like blacking out.
Yeah. So it's just like getting blackout, wake up the next day, do it again.
Yeah.
And
that's
I think
what I noticed with you, Anton.
Yeah, I think a lot of it myself, I sort of lost who I was on that journey. I lost completely who I was, and I think I was hiding from my reality a lot of time.
Yeah.
And you're going to these places with loads of drunk people.
Yeah.
And you know what it's like being sober around drunk people. It's hard. Yeah. And I think that's what I've done as well, and I think that's where we relate because we were hiding in our alcohol almost in a lot of ways.
It's not the craziest, and I'm not saying we've come from the trenches, by no means is it the hardest struggle in the world. It isn't. But what is tough is drinking way regardless of what the motive is to drink that much. It's alcoholism.
I think you're just falling into that environment.
you can get trapped in it.
Yeah,
and I think, and sometimes you're self-aware that I was like, I know I'm in it, but like
sometimes you're too deep in it to get out at one point.
Do you know what I'm saying? And then I think
you were too deep at one point to get.
Yeah.
He went. I mean, you know, the money that was made, and
we're young kids as well. Like,
as in 20 years old, running around and like, what am I
jumping about
more
with
money
Dyson
than
pin
sense.
shoes on and Dyson this and you know,
you've got to find the value in things, and I think things started to lose value. Like, oh yeah, just do that. We'll do this.
Yeah.
It's just daft. But at least we're reflective on it, and we understand. Right? Okay, fair enough. Did it? Learn from it.
Yeah.
Don't regret it.
No,
because listen, I had a good time, but at the same time, I also learned. You have to fall on your face to understand that hurts. I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah.
As long as you can get back up.
And as if you're reflective, because so many people just keep falling on their face, and they think, oh yeah, that's just normal. That's what it wasn't right. You rectify it and move forward and become a better person.
And that's exactly what you've done. I think you've went on to do that. And with you, Love Island obviously is a distant memory for you now in the sense of...
Right, I just thought about it now. It's 2018.
Yeah.
That's mental.
Yeah.
That's so long ago.
Oh, let me tell you something, Wes. The years just go like that, so...
Yeah, you don't have to tell me, like Abracadabra.
Like that.
Yes, we will get there. This is our podcast now, so we won't cut it out. We'll
no
keep
rules.
that in. But yeah, I think that we can appreciate, though, without Love Island, and I think you'll probably agree with this,
100%.
You wouldn't be where you are right now at this stage.
100%. It's like that double-edged sword. And I think, especially with yourself in fitness and whatever, and me with music, there's always going to be that stigma that surrounds things. And I think the UK has a sort of has tunnel vision on people. So like they say, okay, you've done this. This is what you are now.
Yeah.
But that only lasted 9 weeks. And you didn't know me before. And some people think it's a rebrand.
Yeah.
It's not a rebrand. It's just it's just a brand. That is actually who I am.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you're taken away from, every time I sang in there, it's copyright. So so they never put it in. They literally come over the voice of God and be like, Wes, stop singing. Like, that was my mate. Don't stop singing. And I'm sure you'd have loved to have been doing whatever you wanted to do as well while you're in there. There's tons of things that you was doing before that you can't do on there.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I rewrote the lyrics for 7 days when I was in there, and they didn't hear it, and I was disappointed.
No.
So, do you want to hear it? Do you want to hear it?
Oh, I want to hear it. I was going to say, pass me the lyrics, but I did.
So I met this girl on Monday, took her for a chat on Tuesday.
Brilliant.
We were sharing beds by Wednesday, and on Thursday and Friday and Saturday, we recoupled on Sunday.
It's solid work. It's solid work.
Great. I thought it was great.
Well, if we're talking about music, can we talk about my razor rap now? You heard my razor rap?
Oh, I need to hear it though.
Right, so this came out the first time.
You joking?
Right, no, wait, we will get into
Wait,
this.
have I heard this? No, I remember
it. Came out
would
the
I?
first time. It came out the first time I was on Love Island, right?
Yeah.
So went in there, don't have a clue what's went on. As you know, you get your phone back. Yeah. So I went from 4,000 followers.
Sorry, I'm just imagining you coming off. I just imagine you coming off.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, followers crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, crazy. My mum did a razor.
So I went from 4,000 followers to 1 million followers in the space of the 9 weeks. And like the first video I see, over 600,000 views. It is my mum.
654,000.
Oh, 650.
Within 48 hours or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
Viral. You went viral. Through my Instagram, by the way.
Which only started off with 4,000.
Oh, so you think that I got the 1 million followers because of your razor rap?
You take it what way
Listen,
you want.
it's arguable.
Oh, well, it's arguable. So the point is, I come off and I pick up my phone, and it says,
no,
it's
you
my
come
mum.
off with Bell. And
I'd seen it on my phone first, then they put it on GMTV when I was on it, Good Morning Britain, on a live interview with me.
Yeah.
Anyway, getting to the point, this happens a lot, Wes, you just need to
No,
know with it. It happens a lot.
how my brain works.
Yeah, so I come out and my mum's in a fully produced studio with the earphones on, singing into this microphone. Go on, sing the song. Sing the song. Do you want to give her a beat? Give her a beat.
What's the tempo like?
Anton's mum, shaved its bum. What you need to shape your bum is Anton's mum.
Brilliant.
The story goes further. The story goes further that I only found out before we went into All Stars.
Yeah.
So we were rewatching some of the episodes, and one of them was the Craig David one.
Yeah.
We done kind of like a Gogglebox type of thing. And my mother
Mind and tell Craig tomorrow.
reached out to Craig's management the first time around.
Aye, and asked him to rap this.
To see if he would bring out the razor wrap with my mother. Could you imagine Craig David just singing?
You know what? If you cornered him now, don't. Sorry, Craig. If this is not a part, if you cornered him, he's such a nice guy. He'd do it. He'd do it.
He's so
He would do
nice.
it.
He's so nice. So yeah. Anyway, that's obviously the music thing. But I want to go back to the start with you.
Yeah.
So with like we spoke about there, my thing was always fitness way before Love
Yeah.
Island. I didn't know your thing was music, but was that the case from a young age?
Yeah. So if you look at my Instagram, I think I put a post on a while back. The first ever gift I properly remember was a karaoke machine from my mum and dad. Didn't work. It was just like a plastic red box with a rubber cable, pretend cable to it. I didn't blast down the house more than likely. But that was the first one I remember. And then I think 2 years after that, I actually got a real one, and I just never ever left that alone. Like I'd always be singing.
Yeah.
And one of my most fond memories is when I used to go to my grandmother's house, right in the sticks, like really, really out the way. And there's not really a load going on there, but I'd go say hello to my nana and be like, hi nan, hi granddad, blah, blah, blah. Run upstairs, get the keyboard out, and I'd just start playing different things. So like I'd learn songs from, say if I'd heard, I think the first song I ever played was, you remember, Mirror on the Wall, here we are again. You know, you don't know it, Bruno Mars.
Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
You love Bruno Mars as well.
Yeah.
I don't think
but
I've heard
I
that
think
one.
it was
Yeah,
like that was the first song that I got from start to finish, and I was just listening to it, and I was just playing it. So then after that, I was like, well, this is what I want to do. So then I just keep listening to songs, running to my nan's house, playing the song, leaving, sing, and then I figured out how to sing and play and stuff like that. So it was like always my youngest sort of passion, but I never had the confidence. So I'd sing in the shower.
Yeah.
Like full concert.
Yeah.
If I heard my mum or dad or whatever coming up the stairs, I'd be quiet.
I used to be like that when I was younger.
Do you know what I mean? Or if I'd be singing in the house and then I hear the keys go in the door, I'd stop. It's like Toy Story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andy's home.
Yeah.
Kids fall.
Just on the floor. But I just never had the confidence.
Yeah.
They knew I could sing because they'd hear me all the time, and I was just being naive thinking that as soon as I stopped.
So did mum and dad not sort of like really encourage you?
Yeah, my mum always used to want me to sing. Like she'd be like, "Go on, sing. Can you just sing one song? Can you just do?" Blah, blah, blah.
But that.
So
that,
what
But
was
that
not
kind of embarrassed me. I was just like, "Oh
Yeah.
no, I
So
don't
was
want
that-
to do it." Then
Was that a disbelief within yourself, Wes? Did you think you weren't good enough? Or?
No, and yes and no. It's weird because I could always sing. If anything, when I was younger, I was sick, like really, really good.
Yeah.
I think before my puberty and whatever. I was about to say. You know what I was about to say? My balls dropped.
You could hit the high notes
my
before.
high notes was mega. And I do remember singing one time. I was on holiday in France, and there was like a kids club, so the parents could go get drunk and whatever. And I remember there would be a talent show, and I sang, and like 3 of the reps started crying.
Oh.
Wow.
And I was just like, and then after that, I was like, okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was like some of the earliest core memories I think of singing. But then, especially going through high school and stuff like that, it just wasn't the done thing. Like, especially
probably
in
wasn't
Stoke,
cool,
people,
probably
yeah,
wasn't
Stoke's
cool.
like, what, you sing?
Yeah.
Like, no one ever knew that.
Yeah.
They might hear me in the car or hear me here and
Yeah.
there, but I'd be doing that fake rubbish singing where you like
Yeah,
pretend you
yeah.
can't sing, like that embarrassing. Yeah, that was me embarrassing myself.
So how long have you? I recognise that you're now writing and that.
I've always wrote.
That's what I think people don't appreciate about you. And,
Yeah.
and to be honest, I probably didn't realise
Yeah,
that
yeah.
all the songs, including Abracadabra, which we'll get into, that went to number 1.
Was
by
that
the way.
you wrote that?
Wrote,
Yeah, yeah.
wrote that.
Wow.
So my debut, Seen a Body, was the first full start to finish song that I structured and wrote. That went to number 3 in the charts.
Yep.
So that was like the best
Great
start we
start,
could have
yeah.
possibly ever asked for. But when I look back at it now, if I listen to the songwriting, I'm just like, wow, that was rubbish compared to what I'm at now, because I feel like, I'm like 300, 400 songs deep.
Wow.
Like if you look at it, my hard drive on my laptop or my phone,
Yeah.
there's just so many songs, like so many songs. And I think obviously it's like anything, the more reps you do,
Yeah.
the easier it becomes,
Yeah.
and the faster you get and whatever.
Yeah.
So with songwriting, I'm so quick now, and I'm starting to give songs away to people. I'm selling songs, I'm doing this and that and the other, and writing for other people.
Yeah.
So when you come away with a song,
Yeah.
or when you get the inspiration, I mean, how do you just... Is there something that happens throughout the day? Is it within that? Is there a feeling?
Yeah,
you tell me where it comes from.
It's different. So different with each song for me. So like some things, for example, I wrote a song called 3 Words, which is quite an emotional song. It was about breakup, but that was pretty much fresh off the back of a breakup.
Yes.
And I was 3 a.m. in bed, and I was just like, no, I'm going to my studio. So I went down to my studio at the time, and I started writing at 4:30 a.m. By 5:30 a.m. I'd wrote that entire song.
Yeah.
So do you know why you write at that time?
Yes. So that was just because it was how I was feeling at the time. I was like, I'm in a, not in a bad way, but I mean, I'm upset right now. So like,
I'm actually meaning at that time in the morning.
oh, that's night for me, essentially. I mean, like I've not even gone to sleep at that point. So like sometimes it's just whenever it is. So I could get inspiration at 2 a.m. I could get inspiration at 1 a.m. I could get it at 5 in the afternoon. It doesn't really matter, but that's when it goes down on paper.
Yeah.
But more time than not, I usually start making a loop. So I'll play some keys or play some chords or whatever, and I'll start humming along to it, or like mumble rap. So for example, like Nice to Meet You, I could go ba ba da 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 da. That's just like in my head, and then from that, I then record it in, sit back, and then add lyrics to it. After that's my sort of writing process.
Yeah, that's my writing process.
So then, I think I just get inspiration. It can be targeted inspiration, like it was with that, with the breakup, or it can just be straight off the rip, whatever I say. The first thing I said when I walked into the room with Ao, when he showed me the Nice to Meet You beat, was "Nice to meet you," and that was the first words I said.
Yeah.
And then the whole song was based around that.
It's mad, doesn't it?
So there's like some songs, like for example, them two, that like "See Nobody Nice to Meet You," they're just fun songs. There's no real depth to it.
Yeah.
It's just fun. So that's usually whatever the first words that come into my head that work well, that I feel right.
Yeah.
Sounds like that I feel.
Yeah.
But it is a feel, like a feeling, whatever you say, and then I build the song around it.
Yeah. But Abracadabra wasn't quite like that, was it?
No, different.
Abracadabra.
Abracadabra's a big fat lie.
It was a lie.
Yeah.
You totally winged it. Fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
I know the story. Do you want to tell us about that?
So I was in Ibiza and I was supporting Craig in Rocks. You know all about that.
Did you know he got me on stage?
Yeah.
Oh, bro.
And Craig watched it and he was impressed and he said, "Oh, cool." And we was talking and he was like, "Should we get in the studio?" I was like, yeah, let's run it. I've actually got a song ready for you. It's done. Don't worry about it. And he was like, "Oh, cool. We'll do it in a couple of days then." I was like, no, not at all. So on the way home,
porky pies.
Oh, absolutely. But I got my foot in the door, didn't I?
Ah, there you go.
Exactly.
Got in the door.
Got my foot in the door, and then by the time I started writing it on the way home, I think I'd done that hook, verse, rough melody for the pre. And then when I went in with Craig, I was like, "This is the structure. This is what it is. Blah 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 blah." And then we finished it off together, like hour if that.
Yeah.
Adding Craigifying it, and then that's Abracadabra.
So where did the
But Craig said one thing which is quite cool. Abracadabra, you speak it. I can't remember there's a quote to it. It means something. You speak, you see it as you speak, or something like this,
right.
Or you speak it into existence, almost like manifesting.
Yeah. That makes sense.
That's what
That's what it was.
That's what Abracadabra means, spiritually.
Yeah. And that's actually what happened
And
as
that's
well, because it never existed.
Because Craig's quite spiritual, so he's like, "Oh, bro, and it means this, and it means this, and it means that," and you put it together in Abracadabra, and I was just like, fair.
But that's literally what happened. There was nothing there.
No.
You went Abracadabra, and it's happened.
Ta-da!
And not only has it happened, it's went to #1. I believe that when you came into the villa, you performed the song. The next day, did it go to #1?
No, next day it was like, it started creeping up. So the next day it boosted. Did a couple 100,000 streams, and then the next day, and then the next day it started to compound, because people had heard it.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing for an artist, is getting your music heard.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, that's the best platform we possibly could have asked for.
absolutely.
I returned to the villa, performing my own single as an artist with Craig.
Yeah.
With Craig David. I was just like, that's sick.
That's a
So it's like
statement.
the best way I could have possibly promoted. I'm so glad, and massive thank you to Love Island for bringing us on and whatever.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to what we spoke about. I know that the Love Island route probably was never a route both of us expected to go down in our career paths, but it's helped us massively on so many levels.
That's literally the example with this song. Like, there's no way it would have done just as well as it has without.
Without on the show. And do you know what? That was so funny because me and Tom, as soon as you guys had came in, you know how it was. You had to perform it like 3 times back to back. But we couldn't work out what the words were. And you know that obviously in
it's
the
so
villa,
quiet. The music's so quiet.
Yeah, because it's so quiet when you're in there. And I think you guys are just like miming at that point in the actual.
No, we sang the whole thing. We had nothing.
But it's because there's no sound, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. And then they'll play it over
because we can hear it in our ears.
Yeah.
So I forget that. So when we've got it pushed into our ears, we can hear each other. We're talking to each other. This, that, no, you can't hear anything.
Yeah, it was funny.
Because it's just going straight into the TV.
Yeah, so me and Tom were just going around the villa for the next the rest of the time we were in there going Abracadabra. And then as soon as we came out the villa, the first thing we done was Google the lyrics because it was doing our head in. We're like, and then it was like, all right, okay,
makes sense now.
Up Martin, it makes sense. And we absolutely loved it. It was funny. I was on the phone to Tom the other day, came off the phone, and he was like, oh, bro, they've just done the acoustic version. And he sent me it straight away. And he sent me a going, bro, you need to listen to this. I'm like, I want to listen to it straight away.
That was
absolutely
the acoustic.
loved it.
You know what was sick about the acoustic, though, is like, that feels like Craig.
That is,
like R&B, proper, like UK R&B vibes. I was just like, I loved this. I can remember getting in the studio and shout out Nate Notes on the guitar. He's like one of the sickest guitarists. I did my first ever show with Nate, actually, and we brought him in for this. And I can remember us going through different progressions, and we said, right, let's slow it right down.
Yeah.
Let's turn the lights down a little bit. Turn the lights down low. Let's get into it. We really went into it, and I was doing like some harmonies and this, that, and other. And what's sick about Craig is he's took me under his wing and he's let me run with it.
Yeah.
And he, like, for example, I did loads of the harmonies on it, and I did some of the composition for it and stuff like this, and he just let me do my thing.
I think with them,
and it was sick. Like, that's respect.
that is respect.
Do you know what I mean?
That just sums Craig up, though. I mean, every time I've met the guy, he's just so humble, and he cares. It just seems like he cares about people, and it just sounds like he's took you under his wing. Obviously, I think Craig had a total when his career went up and then came back down because I think it was like the post-selector thing or whatever.
Yeah.
He went away, relaunched his career massively, and now he comes back and he's just so humble with it.
He's one of the coolest, nicest, most genuine guys ever. Some people think, oh, is it just like that for camera? I'm like, no. He's like this completely off camera. I said the other day, he got me a birthday gift. He got me we went to Harry Potter World and he got me a Harry Potter like massive statue thing. And he's like got his driver to come send it to me in the house. And I was just like, this is so you're Craig David, you know that. Yeah. Like, he doesn't have to do all this. No. And it's not just for camera. And he's not videoed it. He's not done this. He's just a nice, he's just a top boy.
So can I ask some mummy questions?
Go on.
Where are we going with that? I never know where she's going with this.
You said, can I ask some mummy questions?
Do you have to?
Hello. Right, so tell me a wee bit. You got a wee girlfriend, son?
We keep that.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Who said that? Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
So does mummy and daddy like it?
Yeah, they've met.
Right, so everything's cool.
Oh, perfect.
Right.
It's actually like the nicest introduction I've ever had to my family, I think.
Good.
Like the best possible.
So do you feel deep down at the seat 100%. Of your soul?
Right, 1,000,000%. Without even, you don't even have to finish the sentence.
No, I would say deep down at the seat of your soul, do you actually argue it seems to be you're starting to recognise who you're meant to be?
Oh, facts. 100%, because I feel like, you know what, I think she makes me a better person.
Yeah.
And that's a cool feeling. And I always say she makes, you want to find someone who makes your bad days good and your good days better.
Yeah.
And I think she does that. And I think if that's a relationship and there's respect, and respect's a big umbrella term for a whole bunch of things.
Yeah.
We have respect for each other, our careers, what we do, our time, our emotions, and just real good.
And
real
it must be really nice to, very much with the Love Island thing, your relationships in the limelight. Everyone's got things to comment. It seems to be that you've just managed to keep that away from
Yeah, until now.
We won't say names. We won't say names.
No, you won't.
We don't need to name
You
drop.
won't know who. No one will, I don't think. This is the thing. So, like, it's not like we're going around in ninja costumes.
Yeah.
If people wanted to find out, they could
Yeah.
find out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm just not putting it out there to the world. I've been there.
I don't think you need to put anything out. I think you just need to, like you're saying, concentrate on your music and doing what you want to do, and people will recognise who you are. If they want to see you as that, or that, that's up to them.
Exactly.
But you just do what you love.
Exactly. I think I say control the controllables. I can't control if someone sees me here, and I can't control if someone sees me there.
Yeah.
But what I can control is putting it out everywhere. And for me right now, we're in such a great place that it could be detrimental. It might not be, but I'm not willing to take the risk to find out. So
Yeah, exactly. I think, Wes, your journey's been quite mad over the last few years. I remember when I met you the first time I came out the villa, I think we were at some sort of event, and the way you've changed in the probably 4 or 5 years is unbelievable.
was I drunk?
I'm sure you'll probably agree with this. Actually, I know you'll agree with this because I've watched things
What
that
was
you
it,
spoke
a wee
about.
ding-dong?
It wasn't. It just was very cocky, and he's just so not like that
I was
now.
like, you know what it was? It was also like a mask. It was like I was just so and also I think at that time I was trying to prove myself.
Yes.
And I'd be saying too much, and I'd be this, and it wasn't that I was arrogant or I don't want to listen, but I'd just be like, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that.
Yeah.
And you don't need to do all that.
No.
If you're doing it, you don't.
If you
need to
don't
do
need
it.
to do,
Yeah.
you don't need to say. And reflective, I know some of the conversations I've had with people and this, that, and I'm like, why are you trying to put on this front that you're so sure of yourself?
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest, I'm not always sure.
No.
But that's a front. That's okay, and it's all right to not have a direction in certain aspects of your life and this, that, and the other. I think that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But overcompensating and saying, "Oh, I'm doing this and I'm doing that," and I've just done this, and that doesn't mean you. That's just looking like you know what's going on.
And that's exactly what I'd done as well. I was the exact same, so I can relate. And one of the things that was nice personally for me going back on Love Island again was people could see the growth.
Hey, the growth.
growth.
Let's applaud the growth, by the way.
It was the glasses. It was the glasses. It was just the glasses. It was an illusion. It was an
So what's
illusion.
your problems, girls? Talk to
So what did you think, Wes, when you saw Anton back in the...
class. Did I send you a message or not? I think I may have commented on some stuff that was put up, but it was when...
No, he messaged me. I'm sure you messaged me when he came out, actually.
Did I?
Yeah, I think you did, bro. It was nice.
Only person I think I've messaged, actually.
Yeah.
Because I didn't watch the whole thing religious. No. I watched clips of it.
Yeah, of course.
But some of the clips that was put up, I can't remember who he was telling off in the kitchen.
The Mitch one, yeah.
That was class, mate.
So when you were in there...
Because I feel like you think, sorry, I think you talk, you think very similar to I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you reason you just got a good logic.
Yeah.
And I try and be as logical as possible in most circumstances. I think that can annoy people.
Yeah.
Especially when there's people trying to make drama at all times. But when I was listening to it, I was like, this is just...
Makes sense.
It just makes sense. What are you trying to argue at this point?
Makes so much sense. And yeah, that was a great moment. And,
so what I was... So how did your mum and dad cope with you coming out, doing all the PAs?
They were still working at the time. So they would be obviously doing work. But my dad actually looked after like the admin stuff. He used to check all my admin and bits and pieces. But he loved that.
Yeah.
He's like an organised person. And I'm like miles off it with organised. I'm miles off it.
Yeah.
It's not a strong point. But he loved doing all that sort of stuff. And I think when I was on the show, I didn't get a bad rap at all. So
no, you came across
I think I wasn't. Well, I'm just not a massive knobhead, so I thought.
Yeah.
I think they thought, well, he's not a massive knobhead. He'll be all right. But the show can make great people look.
Yeah, you just don't know.
It can. It depends on how it's edited and what people perceive and what's shown in the day. It doesn't.
Yeah.
They just roll with it.
Yeah.
But they always knew that I wanted to do the music thing, so it was like they were waiting. When are you gonna do the music thing? When are you gonna show them the songs?
And I think that's what you're like with me very much. It's like hit the strike the iron when it's hot. But sometimes it doesn't always work like that. It's like you're the prime example of that.
I could have done it. I could have done it the year. It took me 4 years.
Yeah.
3 years till I started
say,
it.
Strike the iron when it's hot. with the right people, Anton.
Yeah, it can be hard.
You know,
in this
you try to
circumstances,
direct them in the, you know, the right road. You've got your fitness business, you've got all these other businesses. Sometimes you never struck when you
No,
went,
absolutely. I got lost in a lot of things, and
Yeah.
the first time around I made a lot of mistakes, and when I went back in this time, I think that I had in my head that, you know, you'll come out and you'll just get straight back to it. But the reality is, when you come off the show again, you do get caught up in it a little bit again.
Yeah.
But I've realised that a lot sooner this time. I've pulled myself back.
It's a learning thing,
and
right?
It's absolutely.
But
There's no
actually-
blueprint for it, and everyone's got a different blueprint.
Yeah.
You can't go into the show and say, "Oh, I'm going to do what they did," because it won't work like that for you. Because one, they've already done it, and two, you're a different person.
Yeah.
So you've got to have a different idea of what you want to do after. But I think that everyone who's done well, like yourself, like the Josh, Molly May, Tommy,
Yeah.
etc., all had a purpose before they went in.
Yeah.
All had a passion before they went in. So when they've left,
Yeah.
is you've got that passion.
Yeah. So it just
Do
continues.
you know what I'm
with a
saying? It
bigger
just
audience,
continues with a bigger
effectively.
audience.
Yeah.
Like
But I
now
don't
is
think the first time, I think Anton was very much like you. The first time it was, he had that sort of passion to take the fitness and the kids' fitness.
To level, yeah. Beyond.
We wanted to help kids.
Yeah.
But when he got caught up in that, Wes, he went in there one boy and came out another boy.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what's happened with you.
That's
And
what
that's actually something I want to get into just a little bit on this podcast, because I think sometimes we've spoke very positively throughout this whole podcast, and I think that, you know, we're not going into the times where you've obviously hit your down times, your darkest times, and then you've came out of that the other side. So just tell us a little bit about that. You've come off the show.
Yeah.
You're hiding away from things effectively through alcohol.
Yeah, I think that was tough, but I was still managing-ish then.
Yeah.
But then it's actually when it got quiet,
Yeah.
that's when things start to get loud, right, in your head. So I think I've started to get, is when...
You just said that the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's a good one.
it's
I like
when it
that
gets
title.
quiet. So like, for example, like with music, we came out the doors absolutely flying. Hit. And then we started streaming a little less. But like when I was at a label, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing. And don't get me wrong, the songs were doing great. We were doing like 10 million, 15, but it wasn't 100 million.
Yeah.
So, and then you realise you're part of a big machine, and then everything started to feel a bit like when I come off the show, and I didn't know what I was doing it for anymore. So when I was signed to that label, I was like, I want to make music. I've been making music, but I don't know what they want. So there's always that sort of cloud of them like watching, like, oh, do you want to release? No, we don't want you to release that. So I'm like, I'm trying to please someone. You should never be having to please someone else with your art.
Yes.
If that makes sense. It
With
should be
your
the
own
people that you're
talent,
making
yeah.
it for.
Yeah.
So then, and that was tough. I was just like, well, and then I sort of just I never lost the love for music. I just lost the love of releasing songs. I was just like, this sucks. And things was taking ages, blah, blah, blah. Then I went independent. And that was like sort of me coming out and going, right, okay, I'm taking back control. I can do this, that, and the other. And don't get me wrong, potentially we'll sign more label stuff in the future, but it'll be as a partnership.
Yeah.
It'll be as my record label with them.
Yeah.
And so I just have that bit more control. But the past 2 years, that was when I started getting anxiety, like quite bad anxiety.
Yeah.
I had a panic attack. That's when it all started, like a bad one. I thought I was dying, bro. I don't know if you ever had a panic attack. No. I actually thought I was dying. I was like, I'm having a heart attack. And that made me a hypochondriac about my heart. So then anytime I felt my heart beating in a weird way or anything like this, I just felt, oh, something's up with my heart. And then I had the scare before I went on tour, and I just passed out and headbutted the table like the day before tour. Still don't, to this day, don't know what it was. So that doubled my anxiety of like, why am I keep doing this? And in fact, I've been dizzy and all sorts since. So then I started getting health anxiety. But then flip side now, and don't get me wrong, them things still happen, but I can control it.
Yeah.
I understand, not control, I can understand it.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, I'm not dying.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
But secondly, I think I can understand that you don't, sometimes, I don't know if you've ever experienced anxiety like that. Like, I can just be driving in the car and then just be real, like just flooded with that. Like, you just get hot and just anxious about nothing. You feel your chest getting tight and breathing. Yeah. And I just don't know why.
Yeah.
But I found peace in it, if that makes sense. So I'm just like, you know what? If this is how I feel, this is how I feel. I ain't going to die. I'll feel fine in about an hour or two. I'll just keep myself busy.
Yeah, it's kind of like your first heartbreak, isn't it?
It's weird, mate.
It's kind of like that.
It is weird. And I know, listen, there's people that are going through tougher things than I certainly am.
Obviously, hitting the number one in music has got to be something that you've always dreamed of doing. It's almost like the pinnacle of what you can do in a lot of ways.
It is mental, and not to take anything away from it. Like, listen, I jumped around my bed. I was running around the house. I did 14 laps. I got a call from Cass. It was like, I was like, sprinting around everywhere, going nuts. Cool. But then, like, the realization hits is like, cool, you've done that, but it does mean something, but it doesn't mean you've made it. It's cool. It's like, you've hit it.
Yeah.
That's fine. But loads of people have had good chart success, got all these accolades with awards and this, that, and the other, and then you can drop off.
Yeah, of course.
And what I didn't do before was I was getting all this success, and I was celebrating too much.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't celebrate these things too much.
Yes.
And don't get me wrong, you acknowledge them and you respect them. That's cool, but you can't celebrate too much because am I where I want to be? No. Why am I celebrating?
Yep.
Relax.
Keep grounded.
Keep moving.
Absolutely.
Keep grounded.
So with that being said then, what's next?
Next, we've got a couple. I'm going to show you some tracks, actually. New singles coming. I've got my tour coming.
Good.
Yeah, it's just, I'm hopefully getting a body of work as well.
Are you coming to Scotland?
Oh, yeah, for tour. You're not coming to front. I thought you was going to go front row.
Yeah, we'll there.
But you're not backstage. No, not backstage. I'll be on stage singing.